Check. Oh, there we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Hello. All right. Where's my government people at? Good there. All right. Okay. You know, this is really good because we're more like hollaback type speakers. So the more you give to us, the more we'll give back to you. Okay.
Yes.
We're gonna make this fun. So, really quick, just to, am I in front of us? There you go. So creating next-gen government website experiences, we're going to be walking you through some neat stories, especially around how Los Angeles Department of Water and Power did this just not that long ago. All right, so
Are you guys ready?
are you ready?
Are you sure?
Yes. Okay.
There we go.
Woo. Well, good. Well, hey everybody, I'm Josh.
Hey, I'm Brian, and
And
we're
we're
from
from Hounder. All right, we practiced that all morning. Welcome to our TED Talk.
Oh, Josh. We're at DrupalCon, dude.
Oh, we're at Drupal. Welcome to our Drupal Talk, everybody.
Okay. Story time. So, LADWP, if you're not familiar, it's LA Department of Water and Power. They needed a new website, and they came to us, Hounder, to do it for them. So, they have 2 million customers per day, right, Josh?
Every day.
Every single day.
2 million customers.
And they're the largest utility org in America.
Some say the world.
Some say the world. And what else, Josh?
It's also the new utility side of Shohei Ohtani for my LA fans out here. So it's got to be the best, right?
What was the problem, Josh?
Well, so the problem really was, and we're going to get serious with you now, the problem really at the end of the day, after all the research we've been doing, we just really discovered that people hate government websites.
Yeah.
No one here's ever had a thing, like a phone call from an end user around here, right? Never. Okay. Any show of hands who has? A show of hands, yes. Okay, can attest to this. Cool. So what do we do about it, Brian?
Oh, I'm glad you asked me, Josh. We researched our butts off. What does that mean? That means we developed a really good, strong content strategy for the website. So here we go. Okay.
So this is what it looked like.
Existing site.
Ew! You guys are so great, by the way. Thanks for doing that. So, you just saw what was going on. So as we did a lot of this research, we went and talked to so many different user cases from all over the county. And we had, at the end of the day, after doing all that research, we really found 4 or 5 main things that people are really trying to do. Main goals, and a lot of main goals on government sites in general. And those were really, one, wanting to pay their bills.
Yeah, and after that, it's get information on outages in their area, of course.
Yes. And financial assistance. So if they can't just easily pay their bills, what can they get help to do so? What's the information they need to be able to do it?
Yep. And then starting or stop service with any utility.
Yes. And sometimes that starting or stopping service needs to happen fast, right? Has anyone ever been in that situation? So also water and power information for construction. New construction companies in LA, there's a lot of bills going on all the time. So they needed to be able to get the information they needed to do their jobs.
Exactly. So go ahead.
And so the real key to this though is that these sites, can you say with it, they really need to be a self-service website. Any content writers in here? Content writers. Yeah. Sometimes we get very in love with our own content, right? So we need to make sure that we're always asking ourselves, is it the content allowed for people for it to be a self-service website? Is it helping them do that? So this is what we ended up realizing too. So with the self-service is that people actually don't want to talk to you anymore.
They just want to get in and get out, get on with their lives. Again, here's that. Was the existing website. Everyone together?
Ew. Oh, you guys are great.
But it was good for the time, of course.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, we're going to actually just show you the end product. So, without further ado.
And everyone, what do you say?
So, aside from it looking like super sexy, which is, of course, a requirement for any modern website.
Government, especially government.
Exactly. That was one of the job requirements, I think.
Yes.
But besides that, there's a lot of thought that goes into this, and we're going to be talking a lot about it. You can see the navigation is very streamlined. There's just a few items with thoughtful buckets under each one. And remember those 5 goals that we have. You see outages, you see support, login, one click. I mean, that's pretty simple stuff, but we even had safety nets built into the homepage, right? Responsive, of course. You see those 6 links, those are what we're calling just the quick links. Those are safety nets in case they're just completely completely missing the navigation.
We also, with the thousands of user studies we did, when you have very few items in your navigation, people really start to calm down and think, oh, it's really easy and simple to work with you, to talk with you. There's like that.
It's disarming.
It is, it's really disarming. So think as less as you can in the navigation, everybody. Okay, keep it as clean as possible.
Which is hard.
And it is really hard, especially, everyone wants their content in the navigation. Has everyone ever dealt with that, had that conversation with people?
Yeah.
So keeping it as simple as possible with a limited amount of options is the best. The other bit too is when you're looking at these these quick links and things like that, the main primary, if you can narrow down the 5 primary things that people need to do on your website, make sure that whatever those are, that you can easily get to it with one click without having to scroll, without having to look anywhere. If you have to scroll, you have to click anywhere to get there, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, and also one of the philosophies on the homepage was like less moving parts. We didn't want a lot of like moving carousel or things like. Again, those goals is like pay my bills, check outages, like that's it. And there's some company goals as well that we gotta. There's messaging we need to get across and timely things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's move on.
So hey Brian.
Oh hey Josh.
So we just saw what happened. Well, how did we get there?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. So let me blow your mind with something you guys have absolutely never heard before. This is the first time. You ready? Being user first, always. Of course. Yeah.
Yes.
We probably heard that probably thousands of times this week.
Yeah.
But again, it's a concept. But here's how we went about it as Hounder with this project. Who here is journey mapped? Who's done journey mapping?
Journey mapping?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, wow, that's like about half the crew. Sweet. Any insights out of your journey mapping?
Any journey mapping?
Resendo.
Users don't speak like our staff members.
Oh my gosh.
Very true.
Yes. So everyone clap.
That's the user first takeaway for sure.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
Anybody else learn anything from journey mapping?
It's difficult when you have multiple audiences doing very different tasks.
Oh my gosh.
We'll get you're helping me with one of my points. That's great. She said it's difficult when you have so many different tasks. Like, how do you solve for that? So let's actually get into that. So, just right down to it. This is like the journey map is the blueprint for success. So anatomically, it's the brains and also the heart. The heart being for the user, of course. That's the through line and everything. It's the guardrails keeping us on the road.
So just to kind of jump in, taking all those pieces that we just talked about, or what those site goals are, what the user needs are based on the research, you take that and you map it out based on the content they have on the homepage, what's on the navigation, what's that user journey throughout the site to meet each and every one of those goals.
Yep.
As soon as you start straying away from that, your website strategy starts going to crap. So you gotta just keep things focused on what those goals you're trying to achieve and how you're going to get people to that information easily.
And there's structured ways we went about that. We did workshops, we did some taxonomy workshops as well. A lot of back and forth, of course, with the client being the LA team. And they're awesome too. They're the subject matter experts. They knew all the pain points from their users, so it's a lot of give and take there. It's good.
Yeah.
Again, so this is the through line, this is the brains, this is the heart. Just keep that in mind. This is like what we always were referring back to get us there. And to get to this level was multiple iterations. So you don't just land there. There's a lot of work.
In fact, the amount of time that gets spent here, and this gets really overlooked in a lot of like enterprise-based website builds, is this actually should take almost just as much time as it takes to build it.
Oh yeah.
Like the thought process behind this is what is so crucial to the end user. And this is something that, you should, when you're doing your sprints, planning them out, make sure you take enough time to get this right.
Yeah. Foundation cornerstone right there. Cool. So go ahead.
And because we learned a couple things, and some we've been touching, is that users would rather be watching Netflix than being on your site. It is not the highlight of their day to visit your government site. I know. But 4/5 of the traffic to the site, they are there to pay bill, to check outages, right? And I'm sure for you all, I've seen a lot of heads nodding and stuff, that you probably have a good darn idea of what the people need from your site as well.
Exactly. Yeah, and again, if that's the through line, then everything on that site really needs to reflect that, especially on the journey map. And if anyone doesn't know what a journey map is, it's where a user goes from point A to point B. That's as simple as that. So, what does that all mean, Josh?
Good question, Brian. It means to make it easy for people to give you money. Cha-ching, right? Make it easy.
Okay.
So where does that go?
What does that mean practically? So again, we have the heart, we have the brain, we got the heartbeat going, and that's that user journey, all that content mapping, all that stuff. And then where do we go from there? So no good site starts pretty. It starts with these gray blobs, gray boxes. And if you guys, obviously, you probably have heard of wireframing. And this is the skeletal structure, if we're anatomically speaking. And this is the bones. But unlike humans, we can actually move these bones around. We start developing components. We start seeing content gaps in existing content. Because we're dealing with thousands of pages here, and we got to get the users to the right one based on their journey, right? So wireframing, and then after that, the pretty stuff is the paint, the skin, the hair, the pretty clothes, right? And we don't just get there. There's so much work in the wireframing phase. I think we had something like 50 templates that came out of this, and about 48 components that did, I think they had 400 variations. And it was just to make it really easy on the back end and the front end, and just very simple visually.
Yeah, and before we go further, Thomas and Renee, who are also the brains behind this in LADWP, are right back there. Everyone say hello.
Yeah, they were such great work. So very, very good work.
They've been signing autographs all week.
Yeah.
On this project. So, yeah, cool.
Do you want to add anything on that one?
Actually, I just wanted to mention too on the UX side, when it comes to the wireframes, we don't do anything unless it starts with gray boxes, because that is and we identify where those content gaps truly are.
Yeah, and you can
Because
fail
that was the
fast.
time. Yeah.
Fail fast. It's easy to move around. You're not getting too deep.
Yeah.
And again, no code has been touched at this point.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So, and then now we got to test it. So we don't just stop at the research level. That's where a lot of people fail. They go into design because they did the research, so they're already convinced that they got the right solution. And to be honest with you, we've done this for so many years, 15 years now, that you can't stop there and just assume you got it right. So what we ended up doing here is we went through a whole usability test. And then we gathered all the different folks. So this is, again, pre-code. So we have it on like a Figma design and things like that, so they can click around. And it feels like a website.
Right.
It's just not built yet. So that way you don't go too far down the road and spend too much money. But what we did is we gathered all the different folks from the different areas. We also, different age groups, different cultures, ethnicities. There's a lot in Los Angeles like that. So we went and did that, languages, and we looked at all those different demographics, and we tested them through 6 different scenarios. Now, one of the things that we really do, and this is something I really want to hone in on, that you can take and start applying tomorrow in your jobs, is when we do these tests, we make it really clear to the person that's doing it is we're not testing you.
Yep.
We're testing to see if this is going to work for you. So and then we tell them as well, say everything you're thinking. We want to hear what's going on in their brains. When they can say, hey, use the search, and they go, I'm going to go ahead and look in the top right corner because that's where search is, right? Has anyone ever heard of intuitive design? So oftentimes we think of intuitive because it's what you're used to. That's what intuitive design is. So even if you think you're really creative by putting that search bar in the bottom left because you're really cool, that ain't gonna work.
There are universals
Yes.
for sure. Yeah.
So keep an eye on those things, but that's what we look at. And we also record their facial expressions. So we take a look at the facial expressions because sometimes they don't always say what they're thinking.
And sometimes, just a tip, when you see them kind of struggling, you can just ask them, what are you thinking right now?
Yeah.
And you get actually a lot of insight and value out of that as well.
Exactly. So we performed all these tests, and then, survey ended up saying,
So this actually was a very successful user testing. One of the best quotes that came out of that was, I'm no longer going to dread going to the utility site. I was like, oh, that was so good. And some hard metrics there. It was 80% faster for them to get paying their bill. And I mean, this is great. This doesn't always happen, but we had a literally 100% success rate for these tasks. People were finding everything they needed to find within 10 seconds, most of the time much faster. And again, that doesn't always happen, and you learn from that, and you, of course, adapt. At this point, we had to do minor things, but all this, think about that user journey, all that upfront work before was, prettified on the UI side. It really paid off on this project, and it worked out really well.
and I think there was a goal for a drastic decrease in customer calls, like for website assistance. I think that's still to be determined, though, in terms of that, right, Thomas? Yeah. So that's still going on. But these are the goals, and that's why you need to have those goals set out to begin with.
Exactly.
So what did we learn here?
What did we learn, guys?
So people don't want to be on your website.
That's right. And your visitors, they want to just get on with their lives and move on.
Yeah, so make it easy on them.
Yeah.
Because it's really user first always, right?
Exactly. That's the it's the golden rule of web design. Yeah. And then, of course, make it easy for people to give you money. And in this case, it's pay your bills and just get done. You know.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We really appreciate this.